I got the call at midnight. My sister's voice was shaking, panicked to the point that I could almost hear her heartbeat through the phone. "She's cheating on you," she screamed, and for a moment I felt like I couldn't breathe. I froze, clutching the phone, staring into our dark bedroom where my husband was sleeping. Our baby girl, just 10 months old, was curled up against me, her little arms clinging tightly, and our 2-year-old boy was sprawled across the floor, oblivious to the storm about to hit the adult world. I thought to myself, how could she think I didn't know? My heart was racing, but not because I was afraid of him or felt betrayed. No, I knew exactly what was happening. This had been our arrangement all along, something my sister, and probably most of the world, would never understand. Only he and I knew the truth, and we were fine. I put the phone down, taking a deep breath, trying to steady myself. The pressure from the outside world was intense, but inside there was a strange sense of calm. I looked at my sleeping children, glanced at the man I had chosen as my partner, and told myself, we're okay. We really are. 4 years ago, when we decided to get married, he was completely honest with me. "I don't believe in strict monogamy," he said. "I sometimes want to be with other women." I remember that moment clearly. My heart raced, my brain immediately raised red flags. This is not normal. But as he explained everything, I felt something unexpected: trust. I agreed, but only under one condition: complete honesty. No lies, no secrets, and honestly, it works. For us, it really does. I'm not the jealous type. We're emotionally connected. Our kids are loved and safe. We live comfortably in a spacious house in a secure neighborhood. I can stay home with the kids, travel whenever we want, and we never worry about money. It's freedom. It's happiness. But it's the kind of happiness most people would never understand. But to my sister, it's a disaster. In her eyes, I'm letting myself be disrespected. I'm hurting the kids. She doesn't just judge me, she threatens to tell our parents, to make the whole family see what she believes is wrong. Hearing her frantic voice made my chest tighten, not because I was ashamed, but because I knew they would never understand that happiness can look different for different people. I sat down on the edge of the bed, watching my children sleep, thinking about the early days of our relationship. The sunny mornings when he made me coffee, the laughter with the kids at breakfast, the long nights where it was just us talking for hours. All of it was still there, still calm, and that's why I knew we were fine. But my sister's panic pressed in, a wave of judgment threatening to drown me. Each word she said felt like a challenge to my confidence, to the life I had chosen. I felt a mix of frustration and helplessness. Why can't they let us be happy our own way? Why do they have to impose their standards on us? And then it hit me. Yes, my husband sleeps with other women. And yes, I'm completely okay with it. But I can't tell anyone around us. Not because I regret it, not because I'm ashamed, but because they would never understand. Will my family ever understand? Or will I have to hide this life forever, just to keep them comfortable with their version of normal? Life for us looked ordinary to outsiders, maybe even perfect, but underneath, it was anything but typical. Our mornings were chaotic, yet warm. The smell of freshly brewed coffee mingling with baby powder, a toddler's tiny feet pattering across the hardwood, and our daughter's joyful squeals as she wiggled in her crib. And then there was our agreement, one most couples could never understand. My husband could sleep with other women. It all began with radical, unconditional trust. From the start, He was brutally honest. I'm not monogamous, but I will always be truthful. Nothing hidden. While shocking, his calm, rational tone made me feel relieved rather than afraid. I wasn't jealous. I knew my own boundaries, my own capacity to love freely. For us, honesty mattered more than tradition, and in that honesty, we found a sense of safety and understanding that most would struggle to grasp. Our life flowed like any loving household. I brewed coffee, carefully avoiding creaky floorboards, while he wrangled the kids, bouncing our toddler on his hip, or singing softly to distract our daughter from her morning fuss. The mundane moments, the toddler's excited chatter about dinosaurs, our daughter drifting to sleep in his arms felt magical. Even with the unconventional arrangement, our home was a sanctuary. Our children thrived, our finances were stable, and our family unit remained unshakable. Still, outside opinions were a challenge. Family dinners carried subtle judgment. Friends' casual remarks, "Is that healthy?" echoed in my mind long after they were said. But each time, I reminded myself, this is our life, our rules, our happiness. Their opinions could not shake the foundation we had built together. Weekdays followed a rhythm, structured yet flexible. Weekends, however, felt vibrant and alive. Saturday mornings often began with the smell of pancakes, the kids squabbling lightly over chocolate chips, his laughter filling the kitchen as he made silly faces to entertain them. Afternoons were spent at the park, sometimes with friends, sometimes just the four of us. Throughout it all, our agreement lingered quietly in the background, not as tension, but as a gentle understanding that freedom could coexist with love and responsibility. Communication was the key to our unusual arrangement. If feelings shifted or boundaries blurred, we would discuss everything openly. This wasn't infidelity. It was a deliberate choice, one rooted in love, trust, and respect. Not everyone understood. My sister, for instance, saw it as morally wrong. Her panic-filled calls and worried voice carried weight, yet they never shook my conviction. Our marriage thrived on honesty, connection, and shared responsibility, not conformity to societal expectations. At night, lying beside him after the kids were asleep, I would trace the outline of his shoulder and feel secure. The occasional anxiety about outside judgment never lingered long enough to overshadow the certainty I felt in our bond. Our children were safe, loved, and thriving. Our happiness was genuine. Our life wasn't perfect. There were messy mornings, fleeting doubts, and occasional criticism, but it was ours, free, honest, and fiercely loving. Watching him play with the kids, laughter spilling across the living room, I knew that even in a world that might never understand us, we were exactly where we belonged. That morning started like any other, the sunlight streaming gently through the windows, filling the house with a sense of calm I cherished. My 2-year-old son squealed with delight, trying to grab a chocolate chip pancake, while my baby daughter nestled in my arms, sucking her tiny fingers. Everything seemed ordinary. Then my phone rang. It was my sister. My heart skipped a beat. The panic in her voice was immediate. "You have to see this. You need to know he's with someone else." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Here we go again. I knew the arrangement. I knew the rules. I'd explained it to her before, but she refused to accept it. I just had to tell you. It's real. He's cheating on you. Her voice trembled, almost yelling. I rested my hand on the table, closing my eyes for a moment, drawing a slow breath to not get swept up in her panic. "I know. It's not a secret, I said, my tone calm, but deep down there was a twinge in my chest, not pain, exactly, but the uneasy reminder that the truth is rarely accepted by others. She almost screamed into the phone, "What are you doing to yourself? You're letting him disrespect you. The kids, you're setting them up for. If you don't tell Mum and Dad, I will." My chest tightened. The pressure, the judgment, the feeling of being misunderstood hit me all at once. But I drew another deep breath and reminded myself, they don't understand. They won't, and that's not my fault. After the call ended, I looked at the photo she'd sent. My husband, smiling, his hand on another woman's waist, at a dimly lit bar, clear as day, undeniable. Everyone else would look at that photo and think, betrayal, lies, the marriage is doomed. But me, I felt calm. I knew this was part of our agreement. I knew he had been honest with me. Still, the image carried weight. It didn't change the truth in my heart, but it made me anxious. What if Mum and Dad find out? What if the neighbors see? What if anyone misunderstands? The peaceful life we'd built suddenly felt fragile, teetering on the edge of exposure. That afternoon, while the kids napped, I sat alone in the living room, nursing a lukewarm coffee, trying to sort through my thoughts. I remembered the early days when we first made this agreement, the trust, the constant communication, the unwavering honesty. We had agreed every encounter, every outside relationship would be disclosed, so no secret could ever destroy the family. But now, this photo was a harsh reminder that the outside world might never understand. My sister was the first to see it, and her reaction had been explosive enough to shake me that night. When he came home, I didn't tell him immediately. I watched him play with the kids, seeing his laughter, his patience, his care, and realized that his love and responsibility as a father were untouched. Yet, the anxiety from the photo lingered. "Heard from your sister today?" he asked casually, sitting beside me. "Yes." "She saw you yesterday at the bar," I said, voice low. He nodded, calm, unfazed. "She called you?" "Yes. She said she'd tell Mum and Dad if I didn't." He took my hand in his, looking me in the eyes. "We agreed to this life. No one else gets to decide what's true for us. Are you okay?" I closed my eyes, felt the warmth of his hand, and breathed deep. "Yes, I'm okay, but the world won't understand." The next day, my sister called again, louder, more forceful. "What are you doing? Why aren't you reacting the kids? He's ruining everything." I let out a quiet, firm laugh. "We're fine. The kids are loved. My husband is an amazing father. We are fine," but she wouldn't hear it. She continued to lecture about respect, the impact on the kids, and how letting this be seen is wrong. Each word cut into me not because it changed reality, but because she imposed her moral code on my life, trying to make me feel shame I had never felt. In the days that followed, the photo became an obsession in my mind. Every phone notification made my heart race. I worried about calls from relatives, whispers from neighbors. Yet, I also realized one thing: my life, my happiness, and the way I raise my children are mine, not anyone else's. My husband and I started spending more time talking, reinforcing trust, reminding each other why we chose this path. Every conversation was another brick in the wall, protecting our love and family. We laughed, shared small moments, and reminded each other that inside, our family remained intact, full, and strong. Still, the anxiety of exposure lingered. I knew that if the photo ever got out, the reactions would be extreme. But I also knew this: no matter what, our truth remained our truth. We hadn't done anything wrong in our eyes. We were simply living on our terms, with honesty and love as our foundation. One evening, after the kids were asleep, we sat in the living room, golden light spilling across the floor, just the two of us. He took my hands in his, looking deeply into my eyes. We'll face everything. Family, friends, the world. But we'll be fine. Do you believe that? I took a deep breath, smiled, and said, yes, I believe. We're fine. But deep down, I knew the real storm was only beginning. That photo, my sister's explosive reaction, the moral judgments from our family, was going to be the biggest challenge we'd ever face. And I wondered, would our peace and stability be strong enough to weather the upcoming storm? The next day, I knew I couldn't avoid it any longer. My sister was determined to take action, and I also needed to set clear boundaries. I called her, trying to keep my voice calm, though my heart was still racing. We need to talk, I began, steady but firm. Immediately, she shouted into the phone, her anger bubbling over. What are you doing with your life? The kids will be hurt. He's cheating on you, and you're just sitting there. I closed my eyes for a second, drew a deep breath, and spoke deliberately. This isn't cheating. We have a clear agreement from the start. He's always been honest with me. The kids are loved and safe, and we're living our life our way. There was a brief silence, as if she was trying to process, but then her frustrated voice came again. But what about Mum and Dad? Everyone will think badly of the family. Don't you care about our reputation? I cut her off, keeping calm. My life isn't for others to judge. We are living according to our choices. We're fine. The kids are fine. And I won't let anyone impose guilt on my family. The pause afterward was tense. She was still angry. I remained calm. For the first time, I realized that in every conflict with family, boundaries must be set not to fight them, but to protect the happiness and peace of my own household. In the following days, she continued texting and calling, warning about the harm to the kids, what the neighbors would think, and threatening. I'll tell Mum and Dad if you don't. Each message, each call, felt like a small test. A reminder that the outside world always imposes norms, tries to force shame. Yet every time, I reminded myself, we are living rightly. We love rightly. That's the truth, and no one can change it. That evening, after the kids were asleep, my husband and I sat together on the living room sofa, the warm golden light spilling across the room. He took my hands in his and looked me in the eyes. You did well. We've protected the most important thing, our family. I smiled, feeling relief wash over me. The storm outside was still looming, but we were steady. We knew that trust, love, and honesty were what would help our family survive judgment and societal pressure. I remembered watching him with the kids, his laughter, the silly faces, reading stories, lifting them on his shoulders, comforting every cry. To me, these moments proved that a family cannot be broken by what others don't understand. Outsiders see the surface, but not the care, the bond, the deep love we share in my mind. I reflected on the early days when we made this agreement. Back then, trust and communication were everything. Every rule, every boundary was designed to protect emotions and safety. And now, those principles had been tested by a photo. by my sister's explosive reaction, but it held strong. I remembered the sting of her saying, "If you don't tell Mum and Dad, I will." At that moment, it hurt a little, but immediately, I knew that our family's peace comes first. I couldn't let outside expectations destroy the relationship and trust we'd built over 4 years. My husband gently placed a hand on my shoulder. "No matter what happens, we still have each other. We'll handle everything together." I took a deep breath, looked into his eyes, and for the first time in days, felt a full sense of calm. I realized the real challenge wasn't the photo or my sister's judgment. It was holding on to our beliefs and trust in a world full of norms and opinions. We began planning our next conversations with my sister, with our parents if necessary. We wouldn't avoid it, but we wouldn't fear it either. Every step was guided by honesty, respect, and love for our children. As night fell, I sat next to my husband, feeling his steady heartbeat, listening to the children breathing softly in their rooms. I knew that even if the outside world disagreed, even if my sister didn't understand, our family remained strong, loving, and whole. And in that quiet moment, I realized the real tests of life aren't what the world sees. They are how we protect our trust, love, and choices. We had survived the first shock, but I knew the story wasn't over. The world would continue testing us, but now we were strong enough to stand our ground. The day after facing my sister and setting boundaries, I felt a small sense of peace return, but deep down, a quiet worry lingered. I began paying closer attention to the kids, noticing every gesture, every expression, fearing that family pressure and outside judgment might unintentionally affect them. My 2-year-old son still laughed freely, but as I looked into his innocent face, I realized that even young children are sensitive to the energy around them. I promised myself I would keep everything stable and calm so they would never feel insecure about our family. My baby daughter, just 10 months old, still slept peacefully in my arms. But I watched every tiny movement, reminding myself that love and safety are the foundation we must protect above all else. Over the next days, my sister continued texting and calling, alternating between warnings and harsh judgments. At first I felt frustrated, but gradually I realized that remaining calm and steady was the strongest response. Each message she sent, I replied briefly, without arguing, without letting negativity pull me in. "We're fine. The kids are fine. My husband is a wonderful father." That's the truth. Simple words, but they carried great power. They protected my family while helping me maintain inner peace. I realized that peace doesn't come from others agreeing with you. It comes from knowing the value of your own family and choices. During this time, my husband and I spent more time together. We talked about feelings, worries, and challenges from the outside world. We shared everything openly, which made our bond even stronger. Each evening, after the kids were asleep, we would sit together, holding hands, sharing our thoughts, and feeling the deep connection between us. One evening, he looked at me, gentle but full of determination. "See, no matter what anyone says, we still have each other. Our trust and love are unbreakable." I smiled, took a deep breath, and nodded. Deep inside, I felt the strength that came from honesty and unconditional love for each other and our children. However, outside pressures didn't disappear entirely. Some neighbors started giving curious looks, some subtle questions. A few friends expressed concern, even advising, "Be careful. The kids could be affected." Each word made my heart sink a little. But I reminded myself that other people's misunderstandings cannot define my family's happiness. I saw clearly that the greatest challenge wasn't my husband's behavior or the photoct was protecting our trust, love, and children's sense of security amid external pressure. Every day, I tried to maintain a normal routine, feeding the kids, playing with them, teaching them small but important lessons about love and trust. One afternoon, as my son played on the floor, I sat beside him and spoke softly. You know, no matter what, Mummy and Daddy love you very much. Even if the world changes around us, our family's love will never change. Looking into his innocent eyes, I realized that these small words, paired with everyday acts of care, were shields protecting the kids from external pressure and misunderstanding. Meanwhile, my relationship with my husband grew stronger. We learned to share more, listen more, and not let outside judgment shake our trust. Every conversation, every smile, every caring gesture was proof that we were still walking together, no matter the obstacles. That weekend, we decided to take the kids for a walk in the park. Golden sunlight filtered through the trees, children's laughter filling the air. I held my husband's hand, feeling peace wash over me. In that moment, I realized that a family doesn't need outside approval to be happy. We were living honestly, staying true to our choices and values, and when night fell, after the children were sound asleep, I sat beside my husband, soft light spilling across the room, feeling calm and full. We've been through so much, I whispered, and we'll get through more, he replied warmly. Deep inside, a firm belief formed. No matter what the world thinks, we are a happy, strong, and whole family, and it is our love, honesty, and determination that will help us face any challenge that lies ahead. A week after the tension with my sister, I knew a bigger challenge awaited. My parents and other family members might soon find out everything. I felt a mix of worry and determination. I would protect my choices and maintain my family's happiness. That day, my parents came over. They had no idea about the photo or my sister's warnings. The atmosphere was initially normal. Kids playing, the smell of coffee filling the living room, sunlight streaming gently through the windows. Yet deep inside, I felt tension, as if the truth could erupt at any moment. Sitting down, my parents started asking about the kids, work, and eventually the conversation shifted to marriage. I knew this was the moment to set boundaries clearly. I heard something. He's seeing someone else. My mother asked hesitantly, worry in her voice. I took a deep breath, staying calm, and replied, Mum, Dad, everything is based on a clear agreement between us. My husband has been honest with me about what he wants, and we agreed on this way of living from the start. My mother's eyes widened slightly, then she frowned, while my father stayed silent, nodding slowly as if trying to understand. I continued, our kids are loved, safe, and happy. That's what matters most. This choice doesn't negatively affect our family or the children. We are living fully, connected, and with love. My parents were silent for a moment, seemingly struggling to process a different perspective. I realized that not everyone is ready to accept unconventional lifestyles, and that was okay. What mattered was that I remained firm, protecting our family's happiness. After the conversation, they left. I exhaled, feeling as if a huge weight had been lifted. But I also knew that curious glances and whispers from the outside world could still come, and I needed to protect my family from societal pressures. Over the following days, I observed how people around reacted. Some close friends asked questions, occasionally expressing concern. When I shared how we lived, they began to understand that every family finds its own balance between love, trust, and happiness. Meanwhile, my relationship with my husband grew stronger. We spent more time discussing feelings, how to face judgment, and how to shield the kids from outside influence. Each evening, after the children slept, we sat together, holding hands, sharing deep thoughts, and reinforcing our belief. No matter the challenges, we are a strong, united team. One evening, during dinner with the kids, I watched my husband care for them, reminding our son to eat slowly, comforting our fussy daughter. A deep sense of pride filled me. Our family is still whole, still loving, and nothing can break it. Looking into my husband's eyes, I whispered, "I feel so lucky to have you by my side through all the challenges." He smiled, pulling me close, "And I'm lucky you understand me." We survived the first challenge, and there will be more. But the important thing is we're strong, still loving each other and the kids. Deep inside, I realized that life isn't always easy, but trust, love, and honesty are what keep us afloat and happy. Judgments, curious stares, and gossip cannot shake the foundation we've built. That weekend, we decided to take the kids on a trip to enjoy nature. Golden sunlight, children's laughter, and simple games became the clearest proof that happiness doesn't depend on others' approval, comes from living honestly and loving fully. Returning home that night, after the kids were sound asleep, I sat beside my husband, soft light spilling across the room, feeling calm and complete. He took my hand and said gently, "No matter what the world thinks, our family is everything. We are still okay, still strong and whole." I smiled, taking a deep breath, and felt a simple yet powerful truth. Trust, love, and honesty are the forces that allow a family to overcome any challenge. And we will always stand together, no matter the judgment or pressure from the outside world. Finally, after weeks of dealing with anxiety, family pressure, and outside judgment, I realized the greatest challenge had passed. It wasn't the photo, nor the gossip, it was how we maintained trust, love, and agreement within our family. Morning. Sunlight streamed through the living room windows, and the kids were playing on the floor. I could feel a rare sense of peace. Their laughter echoed warmly, filling the space with love. I looked at my husband, who was helping our son build a toy set, his eyes full of patience and affection. "I think we've been through so much," I whispered. He turned to me, smiling, and pulled me close. "And we'll get through more. The important thing is that we're here together, and the kids are happy." I nodded, closing my eyes and taking a deep breath, feeling peace wash over me. I realized that happiness doesn't come from others. Approval, it comes from understanding and agreement within your own family. We chose a different path, but it was ours, and we had no regrets. In the following weeks, life returned to a normal rhythm, but with deeper meaning. We spent more time playing with the kids, teaching them values of love, trust, and respect. Every story, every small game, every comforting gesture became a testament to our family's strength and unity. One evening, after the children were asleep, we sat on the sofa, warm light spilling across the room. My husband took my hand and said softly, "Looking back at everything, do you see? We still have each other. We're okay, stronger than ever." I smiled, feeling the steady beat of his heart and the warmth of his hand. I understood then that love, trust, and honesty are the forces that allow a family to overcome any challenge. Pressure from relatives, curious stares, or gossip still existed, but now we had learned not to let them affect our happiness. Every decision and action was based on mutual respect, love for the children, and transparency in our marriage. That weekend, we took the kids on a picnic. Their laughter filled the park, sunlight danced through the trees, and the scent of green grass surrounded us. I held my husband's hand, watching our children run and play joyfully, and felt deeply that simple happiness lies in everyday moments, in presence and in loving each other fully, back at home. As night fell, I placed a hand on my baby daughter's belly and looked at our son sleeping peacefully. I paused for a moment, taking it all in: love, peace, trust, and complete happiness. I knew that no matter the world's judgment, our family would always be a safe, strong harbor. Finally, I smiled at my husband. We did it. We held everything together, and most importantly, the kids are happy. He hugged me, his voice warm. Yes, and we'll continue protecting that. No matter what challenges come. I closed my eyes, feeling peace fill me completely, and understood that family is not just about love, it's about trust, determination, and the choices we protect with all our hearts. And in that quiet, still moment, I knew that no matter what life threw at us, we were a complete, strong, and loving family, ready to face any prejudice or external pressure, while preserving our identity and happiness.